Hi, guys. Welcome to Dental Construction Insider Podcast. A little bit of a change up on host today. So, my name is John. I have Rhino Design Build today, and we're going to go over how residential and commercial design and development kind of cross over. And we're going to explain the segue on how some of you doctors out there will be kind of considering different contractors, and we'll go over specialties of that kind of aspect. So here I have with me the man, the myth, the legend, Danny Garcia, owner of Rhino Design Build, LLC. Danny, please introduce yourself.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, John. So as you said, my name's Danny Garcia. Started Rhino Design Build back in 2004, so it's been a minute. We specialize in residential construction. We do some commercial, but we specialize in mother-in-law suites, casitas, second-story additions, garages, total house renovations. So that's basically, in a nutshell, kind of what we do.
Awesome. And I know we're coming up on 20 years of operations. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we started on October 4th of 2004. So
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long, short.
Everything in between.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm happy to be a part of it, by the way.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on board. We appreciate
Yes.
you. Yeah.
We have here also Janelle, Miss Patrick. Please introduce yourself.
I am Janelle Patrick, and I am the
Problem.
Director of Operations, and I go and meet the homeowners and do the design development process with them.
Absolutely.
She runs the entire company.
There you go.
Don't sell yourself short there. Yeah.
She's a puppeteer with many strings, many strings. So I know that there is a little bit of overlap when it comes to construction and construction management, project management. As far as Rhino Design goes, I do have questions from doctors that are, of course, all over the U.S. And sometimes they ask, is a contractor that they have, that they know of as a friend, can do their commercial project? And more of the times it's interior finish out. There is certain aspects that have where there's a complete addition to an existing building, which is also pretty complicated. So would you say that there is a certain specialty that you should kind of give your clientele advice on as far as who should handle those types of projects?
Yeah, we get that question kind of a lot. So with us, when we're bidding out a job, a client will say, my brother-in-law is I was about to say mechanic, no, but like an AC guy or a plumber or an electrician. And, we right away kind of throw up our hands. We're like, you know what, like I'm sure they do great work, but we have our team in place for a reason. We've been using our guys for years. And so no offense to your brother-in-law, but like what if something happens and will he come back and finish the job? I know he's related, but it's kind of weird, when you do business, things happen, and it's not always good. And so I would say use caution, you've kind of got to draw the line somewhere when it comes to friends, family, and then business,
That's great, yes.
Yeah, I get family, friends, and neighbors that ask all the time, like, hey, can you come, bid out this casita for me, this second-law, or this mother-in-law suite? And my first thing is like, let me stop you there. Absolutely not. I can't, and I won't. I've been down that road. And it's just not worth it. Construction is, even though you have the best set of plans in place, things don't go according to plan, as kind of we all know. And so, again, people don't have realistic expectations sometimes of how the project's going to go. And even though you have professionals in there, it's just sometimes you have to call audibles and things don't come out exactly the way they were planned. And so that leaves a bitter taste in some people's mouth. They're like, oh my gosh, well, you had to move the wall a foot, and why'd you do that? It's like, well, I mean, things happen, things have to change. So
pulling a DAC.
Exactly. Yeah. Ready?
Too soon. Too soon. Sorry, Cowboys.
My hamstring hurts.
Unfortunately, I'm a Cowboys fan. Yeah, so
I'm a Bears fan. Don't judge me based on that. Yeah. So I would say use caution with that. Cut. We're out of here. Interview's over.
Thank you for your time.
So speaking of, I guess, that process, the design development, the construction aspect, have you guys done a dental office before in the past?
We have.
And this is the crossover, guys, as far as, how it leads into the dental. So.
Absolutely. So we have. We did one in Almost Park. It's been about probably 5 years. That was a challenge. It was done by an architect, and again, just because lines are drawn on a piece of paper doesn't mean it's going to come out exactly the way it is. And so there are little things like we had to run like the med gas, and we had to do, dig trenches in the concrete and run conduit for all that stuff. And
Sure.
that's not always spelled out,
Yeah,
and so even though we've done this for quite a while, it's just like there's always those things that on the plans we're like, man, I wish that would have been spelled out because we would have had concrete patching in the plan or whatever it is, the conduit, even though it's not expensive, but they got to run the wires and, somebody's got to, rent the saw.
And that, yeah, exactly. And that's the tough part, right? Because you have your trenching for your air and vac that goes to all the dental chairs.
Right.
And then you have the power for the chair, right? It has to be in the, good enough location, or the plumbing has to be a certain amount of feet and inches away from your toe wall.
Right.
Right. And that's just for making sure to have your proper, lines in the correct places for the equipment that you're going to buy.
Absolutely.
If it's, you're getting all of this stuff laid out, but the equipment that you're purchasing is not going to fit
Right.
what you have in place, then you're talking about a huge dollar amount that you're having to make a U-turn on.
Right.
So that's a great point. So, there's a lot of specialties or a lot of areas that really you wouldn't know unless you're going or have that many offices.
Sure.
Going, that's tough. It's definitely tough.
It's hard, and so that's where the great design comes in place. It's not you can't really rearrange the room or redesign the room. When that chair's there, guess what? It's going to live there probably forever. Unless you want to retrench and kind of redo the electrical and all that stuff. So
yeah, and it's expensive to have to tear up or chip up everything like that as well.
It's possible, but yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. Do you have, I guess, any advice for homeowners or clientele? Because I know, for instance, what we kind of advise for on the commercial side is we have, a questionnaire that we usually give out at the very beginning process.
Yep.
And that kind of allows us to tailor a little bit more of the design according to that particular project. Do you have any advice for clients out there that are considering taking on a project of their own, coming January? Because I know, it's in everybody's head, get the ideas
Get
going, get
holidays.
into holidays, and then try and, get that project coming to life.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I'll start and then I'll let Janelle kind of finish. But we have what we call a new homeowner checklist. Not quite for custom homes, but it's just for any project. And so it just has all the particulars that we feel go into a project. And it's got some stuff in there that may not pertain, to the client or that project. For example, garage doors, they may not be renovating a garage, but we have stuff in there. We want to know the model number that they want to go with, whether it's chain fed, belt fed, chimneys, fireplaces may not be in the scope of work, but is it gas? Is it wood burning? Like, there's so many things that go into it. And in my opinion, it kind of needs to be asked, because the more information that we have, the better that we can be at our bids. If we don't have, if you throw something at the wall and hope it sticks, it's like, well, that's great, but was it really thought out? So, Janelle?
Yes, and along with that is, we'll try to ask for inspirational photos. Because we can't truly rely on the homeowner to know exactly what it is. They have a vision, but they don't at the same time.
Right.
So just trying to get photos from them, trying to get their perspective and what, they're feeling, what they want and what they envision, and actually from there getting it onto paper, and from the paper bringing it to fruition, which is a huge ordeal.
Would you say that there's a lot of blanks that you have to fill for homeowners that they don't even know exist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
a lot of different, material selections and paint colors, and just down to the grout in a tile. Sometimes it's like, if I go with, this grout color, what is it going to do for the rest of the room? Mm-hmm. And it does make a difference, especially when you start to lay it in the pattern and, just everything behind it. Is it going to be busy? Is it going to be monolithic? And just getting that vision from them and bringing it, again, to fruition and making their dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think a lot of homeowners have they have a fear of the finality of the colors that they choose. For example, the wall color, the floor color, the cabinet color, the countertops. In their mind, like, does this all go together? Greens and reds, and I'm exaggerating, but all colors of the spectrum. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable choosing that. We actually offer a service that we provide to our customers of being able to choose a package to where we can choose that for you. Because another thing too is they have to go to several different places to choose materials, and appliances, and that could be many hours out of their day. I mean, they go to the tile store, and then they spend 2 hours there. They go to the countertop store, they spend a couple hours there, and they go look at cabinets. I mean, that could be, how many
Right.
hours there? There's so
Right.
many different things.
And by the time they get to the end of the list, they don't remember what they picked
Right.
in the beginning. So
Right.
just tying everything together to make it.
Right, right. Would you say
Cohesive.
that maybe visuals and like 3D renderings have a little bit of assistance with that selection process?
1,000%.
Yes.
Yeah. That kind of literally paints the picture of what it looks like when it's all kind of pulled together, and that's where the main man comes in, right there, the design professional.
I'm like the plug, man. Plugging myself. No.
Yes.
No, but it's invaluable. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. What's the best way, for instance, whether it's commercial or residential for somebody to get a hold of you, whether it's homeowners or clients?
Website's probably the easiest. It's rhinodesignbuild.com, and then of course our phone number, office line is 210-413-8789. You can Google us and see what comes up. All our social media is on there: Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. So the next kind of topic I have that we're going to go over, that I was thinking about, is changes in the industry. And how do you guys think, or as far as what changes have you noticed, and how do you think that's going to affect the future of design build?
Well, the way I look at it now, everything that we touch in construction is a commodity, because everything kind of changes and fluctuates in terms of pricing, availability, all that. And so we always try to get our customers to choose everything at the very beginning before we even start the project, in the bidding process. But again, we've kind of run into some people that just don't have the time to go to all the stores to make all those selections. Janelle is very good at choosing colors and different contrasting things, and she's very good at talking to the clients and kind of understanding what they want, so she can kind of put that vision together in a nice, pretty bow, as well as yourself. So,
Thank you.
yeah. But what else do we know? Like sometimes windows, doors, appliances are kind of ETAs are a little bit kind of backed out depending on the brand.
Yes. So it's just trying to get all of that information up front and making sure that the availability is going to be there. Because, we're in design development. So by the time we go through that whole process, bidding process, and just making sure that this is still what they want, because then they get back online, or they still are looking at other, visions that they may have, and it's making that decision up front. Mm-hmm. So on the latter part, when we're ready for it, it's available to them.
Mm-hmm. And with that, we do get some clients that come to us that already have a loan package in place, and the clock's already ticking, and they have 6 months. And we're just like, oh man, talk about no pressure. It's like, okay, so now we have to do this thing in 6 months, including the design, which could take up to 2 months sometimes, depending on, and the selections for the materials.
Right. And then they, custom cabinets or semi-custom, and it's a lead time on, that type of custometry that it's just like 18 weeks out sometimes on custom cabinets. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, so now we're at 4 months and you've only given us 2.5 to build.
I have another question that I'm kind of interested on. For our particular area of I guess our bread and butter, is there a lender that kind of sticks out to you that's easiest to work with as far as the draws go, and maybe another piece of advice for someone looking to start a project? Sure.
We have several lenders that we do work with. Jefferson is one of them, but it really depends on everybody's got a loan somewhere, right? A relationship with a bank, and so we have a mortgage broker that actually can find the best, loan package for them. It's hard to say just one lender because they're all so different. It depends on credit score, equity in the house, what they're trying to do. It's very hard to speak on. We're not mortgage lenders, but we definitely rely on those professionals to give us their, advice and where, people should go. So I would definitely do some investigating and some homework on that.
Yeah. The next thing I kind of wanted to bring up was timeline and how Rhino Design decreases overall construction and project timelines, because that in turn equals saving the big bucks.
Sure.
So, what are some of the things that Rhino Design Build offer to decrease project timeline?
Kind of like we talked about earlier, the design package that we offer, I think that kind of shortens up the window from what the client is responsible for choosing. Every client's a little bit different, every project's a little bit different, and so and their availability is different. And so some people have a week to be able to do this and get out there and make all the selections. Others just have weekends, which not every one of our vendors is open on weekends. And so some are like, well, I get off work at 5, but our vendors close at 5, so it's like it makes it a little bit difficult. So what do you think?
I think that getting that homework done ahead of time. And a lot of times it's just like, again, sending us inspirational photos that we can work off of. And I can go and do the selects and I can bring them to you and bring you, 3 or 4 different ones. And as long as you can tell me like yes or no, because you get to feel and touch and see it live versus just, in a picture makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But it's having to make those decisions. And I know that it's investments and I know it's, their home and they want to walk in every day and make sure that it's nice and cozy for them. But that's what we're here for, and we're here to assist with that and give them that confidence that they need to move forward.
Right. Helps us avoid a lot of issues, right? A lot of decision issues, and then that translates into ETAs for delivery time, availability.
Absolutely.
Right,
And
exactly.
that's also what I tell them. Like, if you don't like anything that I bring to you, my feelings aren't hurt. I'm not connected to your home and your project.
Yep.
Your taste can be completely different from mine.
Sure.
And that's where I can distinguish, the two in between, emotional.
Right.
So don't feel just because, or you might love it all and you don't know which one to pick, then I can help you with that as well, because we're looking at the whole entire, picture. But sometimes it's like, I don't know, like, if you don't like it, tell me. It's okay. So you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah. And in the past, we've had clients that would go to like Floor and Decor kind of on their own, and they're just like, are you kidding me? Like, it's just a big, huge place with so many options, and their head starts spinning. They're like, oh my God. Yeah, very overwhelming. So,
or when we send them, and we try to be a part of those meetings when they go and do their selects.
Right.
And, they go to the stone yard and they're looking at 20 different slabs. And, it's like, I'll be there with you because I can bring the sample of the tile. I can, bring the wall color and we can make this decision together and make sure that this is what you're going to be comfortable with.
kind of shorten up that time that they're going to spend there.
Yes. And kind of just like ease that, like, I don't know if this really matches and,
And that's what I find so interesting, that everything is so interconnected, and that there's so many different variables and so many different people that are making decisions for the same project. And so, we try and make it as seamless as possible.
Right.
We try and continuously improve with each project. And I think that's something that's, special, that makes us stand out because, we care about what we're doing.
For sure.
It's an intentional kind of decision that we're doing, whether it's with design or the best decision for the homeowner, whether it's financially or even for the future, right? Of how they're going to be growing into that space,
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
and I think that's something beautiful, that with each project that we can have that type of impact,
Right.
and then after the project's over, they're still around to say thank you,
Right.
and that's something that's important as well, that it's a lasting relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. And going back to the renders and the selections, I think that's where it kind of all ties in, and they can really get a realistic expectation of what that's going to look like. And John's really good at putting that all together. If the customer can tell us, or Janelle's made selections of, Armstrong or Mohawk flooring, whatever model number, and it's like a light brown or a light tan, whatever, John puts that on the plan for the clients, and they're able to actually, it's literally, it looks exactly the way it does, in the store than it does on the drawings. And so they're able to see, like, wow, you know what? That gray that I chose really pops. Or, man, I want a tan instead of that gray, or whatever it is, just like, boop, there you go.
Yeah.
Change it.
I want warmer, not cooler.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where you really start working with the homeowner and getting to know what they like. Because this is somebody that you've never met before. This
Right.
is somebody that you don't have any relation to, and just getting a feel of what makes them comfortable.
Yeah.
So are they the type of person that's going to like a little bit of an accent, and have, this bright coral wall? with, a subtle blonde floor, or are they just going to want everything to kind of blend and look monolithic? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, and dressing it up, what are your furniture pieces? What are your art pieces? And the color tones, and I love mixing metals. And I always tell, like, there's nothing wrong with them, because sometimes they just want everything in the same, like, brush nickel,
Yeah.
or, everything in black matte.
How would you say the market is right now, like as far as material choices? Are you finding it, at a more inflated level, or
Oh, absolutely not.
okay?
No, I
Okay.
think we can just mix and match everything as long as there's a nice flow. I mean, and again, and sometimes, they don't want to, they want to be talked off the edge, but they don't want to jump.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
us, not persuading them, but letting them know that it's okay. Like, if you have a black framed mirror and gold brushed faucet, it's not the end of the
Right.
world.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can change that. It's not
Uh-huh.
like painting the whole bathroom black. And then
Right.
it's like, what did I do?
Right.
And everything, so it's just giving that
Yeah.
comfortable level of, like, be a little bit daring and,
Sure,
bold if
sure.
you
Yeah.
want, or don't, and we'll scale it all
But-
back.
And I think that's where we do have a good, as far as a workflow or combination, or like that teamwork that kind of flows together, because I can do the space planning. You know what I mean? That how the spaces are going to not only relate to each other, but how the homeowner couldn't move around that space. Or
Right.
Not so much on the commercial side, so much as a workflow, but
Sure.
just as far as movement, just in general.
Right.
Natural light, ventilation, just material choices that really relate to either how the texture feels, or
Exactly.
how the light
Yeah.
is going to reflect off a certain paint color.
It makes a difference.
So there's all those little things that add up to equaling a great project.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we can do the best craftsmanship, and everything can be completely, good to go. And it's just like, if we don't dress it up with that little detail, just to give it that,
Well, that's
pizzazz.
the whole point,
Yeah.
right? Stand
Well,
out.
and
right?
to
Stand
me,
out.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's always, in lighting fixtures.
Right.
Lighting to me, it's the
Easy way.
jewelry of the home.
That's a really
Well
good,
said.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's
We
what's
need to
going
tag that. I
dress
like that. Jewelry of the home.
Yes, because it's gonna make or break the space.
For sure.
If we did all of this right, and then we just go stick a little brushed nickel
Yeah.
52-inch fan in there,
Yep.
and everybody walks in, it's like, oh yeah, it looks nice. But if you put a wooden koa fan in modern forms, and it's just like, oh wow, like, it's smart. Like, I can program this thing when I'm on vacation,
yeah.
and not only, but it's the aesthetic of it. So it's just being able to walk them through that, because a lot of times homeowners will just be like complacent to what they had before, but that's not what we're doing.
But I like walking into the primary closet and pulling my little pull chain light.
Like, no, we can open the door now and the light comes
Yeah,
on.
right.
And it's like,
Sorcery.
oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know, that was possible.
Yeah, yeah.
So just, if we're already there and we're already doing it and you're already investing,
Yeah.
then let's,
Make it the best it can be.
blow this thing out.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
because you're only going to rip the Band-Aid off once.
Right.
Right.
To that
So-
point, and then you mentioned space planning, like for the future. We do get clients that we do a lot of work in Alamo Heights, Turtle Hills. There's a lot of 2-1s, two bedrooms, 1-bath homes, and so we'll get clients that they're young and they just had a baby, and they'll call us and they're like, hey, we want to add an extra bedroom. We're expecting a baby. We're like, well, that's awesome, but are you guys gonna have more? Like you're just
Right.
talking about 1 bedroom now. Like, are you talking 2 bedrooms, maybe an office? And they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. So it's, again, planning for the future, because again, you do this one time, but you want to make sure that we, kind of hit the nail on the head.
Do
and,
it, yes,
do
to
it correctly.
the full
Yeah,
benefit of what's going to benefit them. And touching on point with that is, okay, so you're expanding the family, but at the same time, mom and dad may be growing older. At the same time, so we're adding an extra bedroom for the extra baby, and then maybe in the future, because they're moving down from the north, and we don't want them in the house, but we want them near, and it's okay. There's a casita, so that's also something that we think about and take into consideration when we do MEP. And it's a big one, because you don't have to do. We can do it in a phase 2, but let's go ahead and prepare for it.
Right.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
Planning for the future is huge. So we're working on a project in Alamo Heights, and so there's a back house with a garage and then like a casita on top, and we're doing this big renovation. And the clients are eventually talking about doing a pool. And so one of the discussions that came up was like, well, where does a sewer line run from the back? Is it running like right smack dab where that pool's going to go, or the electrical lines that are underground? Where do those run? And so, sure enough, after some investigating, they run exactly where that pool is potentially going to be. So it's like, well, now we've got to reroute that to make sure that in the future we don't just sign off and say, all right, we'll see you later, and then now they got to deal with the sewer line that's there. So
And
but those are questions that
redo
we need
all
to
of
find
the
out.
work.
Yeah.
Well, and to
yeah.
the point, I mean, Rhino has done plenty of projects where, Danny himself, he's on phase 4 and 5 of them.
Yeah.
Because it starts on the
Repeat
inside.
client, repeat business, yeah.
Yes. So, every year, every 18 months but they've had this discussion early on. So he's already prepped the area
We.
for.
We. Sorry, we. Circle the trust here.
But it's again engaging with the client early on, and we don't want a one-time
Right.
client.
Yeah.
We don't want
And-
to set ourselves up
And would
for-
you say like an unspoken or like how like more in the background, the other reason that allows this seamless process to happen is like your relationship with existing trades, and
Oh, absolutely.
especially some
Yeah.
of the long term
For sure.
trades that you've had.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes us sleep better at night, knowing that we're not auditioning, a new electrician or somebody or a new framer, because you just don't know. I mean, even though you can visually inspect the work, is he going to come back when we have an issue, or if we've got to, reframe something or this and that? I mean, it's just, the list goes on. So having that comfort of knowing I can use this guy for 10 years and 15 years. And I mean, my AC guy, Pete, I've been using him probably since Divine, so probably 20 years ago. Yeah. So literally.
Shout out to AirTech.
AirTech, there you go. Pete, what's up, Pete?
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
important.
awesome. Yeah.
It's a very important because it's the reputation. It's
Right.
the relationship,
Right.
the trust
Right.
that's
Yes.
built
Right.
over years that makes you different from other builders because
Right.
It's
almost
established.
Distinguished, right? Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's funny because speaking of established, people see the Rhino logo and they're like, "I've seen that. I've seen the sign." They're like, "Alamo Heights store." I'm like, "Yeah,
There you
okay,
go.
yeah, that's us, yeah."
That's awesome. Bread and butter.
Yes.
But one more time, let's go over how someone can reach out to Rhino Design Build.
Via our website, it's www.rhinodesignbuild.com. It's actually spelled RHINO, traditional spelling. There's some crazy spellings that I've seen throughout the years. And no, we're not affiliated with those roofing guys. I get that all the time. I saw your truck. I saw your sign. Like, no, you didn't. That's not us. Our phone number is 210-413-8789. Janelle answers that phone. So, yeah. Text message is probably easier sometimes when we're in meetings or, yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Anything, Janelle, for how to reach you?
No, just call.
There you go.
I'll
Okay.
answer.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and stop the podcast there. Dental Construction Insider Podcast. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel that has all of our episodes on there, 260dentalbuilders.com. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Any questions, leave it in the comments.
Yep.
Check us out on all platforms. Erica, Spotify, Apple, we're on all over the place, right? Yeah. Check it out.
A hardworking girl.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you,
You
John.
guys have been
Thank
awesome.
you, Erica.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
time. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate you guys coming. You guys are great. So thank you so much.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See y'all later.